can get behind these 5 candidates and we win, then we show that we are a real force. But we have to be strategic. What happened was every Bernie Krat and his uncle decided to run for office, and then Bernie comes here last weekend, the weekend before the primary, and doesn't endorse anybody, doesn't campaign with anybody. The only candidate he endorsed in California was Nanette Barragan, who I held a fundraiser for her. I thought she was going to be progressive. She's great on the environment. But guess what? She co-authored the anti-BDS bill in Congress.
No way. Are you shitting me?
Yes.
And that's the person that Sanders endorsed?
Yes, and she voted with the other Democrats to water down Dodd-Frank.
That is profoundly anti-free speech. Not
only
does profoundly anti-free speech. That bill.
Yes,
that's villainous and treason for this bill.
Yeah. So what happened was he does 3 rallies on behalf of first he comes to Disneyland on behalf of the Disney workers in Anaheim. Yeah. Then he goes to Carson on behalf of the longshoremen. Then he goes to LA on behalf of the Real Justice PAC, which was Sean King and Patrice Cullors.
Right. I saw that one.
The
BLM, Black Lives Matter thing.
And there were thousands of people going to his rallies. And what did that do? It took the volunteers off the campaign trail in the last weekend of Go TV, Get Out the Vote, to go stand online to hear Bernie, who doesn't mention one single candidate from the podium.
Why don't you? That's man, you've said a lot there. So there are 3 things I want to hit. When TYT first started supporting candidates, the Justice Democrats thing, there were a few of us who said, I didn't like it when when Hillary Clinton was propped up by MSNBC. And the way that MSNBC would coddle Clinton on a lot of the stuff and not give coverage to Sanders. It seemed grossly unfair, and it seemed extremely, it's so over the top. It took Sanders halfway into the campaign before they even acknowledged that the man existed. Yeah. So this idea with TYT, my thing was the idea of fusing a media company with a political body. This media company is supposed to be honest and straightforward when it's giving its news, whereas politics is just full of bias. I mean, let's be honest. These guys are liars and these guys are full of bias. And you have the situation where TYT now has candidates that TYT likes in the same way that the media has their candidates that they liked. I didn't like it when the media was kind of edging out Sanders and supporting Clinton. I don't necessarily like it when TYT is picking winners from the same way. I think it feels weird to me. You have a media company, and my thing was you are going to have other lefties in the race. There's going to be some situation where there's one lefty that TYT says, yes, we're supporting this one lefty. But what happens when you're in somewhere like California and there are 4 lefties who are trying to run in a particular district and you say, this is our guy? Now, TYT will also complain, however, that the DCCC is choosing candidates also. The DCCC comes out, puts their thumb on a ballot and says, we want this guy, Steny Hoyer, telling the person to get out the race. While TYT is also saying, we like this person. Allison Hartland, and the person that you're saying was on that network constantly. Constantly, every time she's, a preview for this. If I'm not mistaken, she was even doing part of talk shows every Wednesday or something, some insane amount. They picked their winners in the same way that the DCCC was picking their winners. They didn't like it when the DCCC did it. Apparently, I guess they're okay when they're doing it. Oh, and the other part, that is a brutal record of failure from someone on the left in California. That is painful. Why don't you think Sanders supports those guys? Is it because Sanders believes that he wants to run as a Democrat and that he doesn't want to step on any eggshells? Is it because you believe Sanders is disengaged and just not caring or disinterested? Why on earth would this person who's telling everybody he wants a political revolution, screaming in the mics about a political revolution, ripping his shirt off with, political revolution scrolled on his chest, and yet he's coming to California, a lightning rod for support. The man is still a rock star and doesn't utter a word about the candidates who are in the race. That just seems weird to me. That seems utterly weird to me and bizarre. It's okay if the people are drained away from the standpoint of the campaign workers being pulled away. If those campaign workers are going to get energized by the guy who was the goddamn rock star in the last election. But he doesn't do it. Is it because Bernie Sanders wants to run as a Democrat and Bernie Sanders understands that he better toe a particular line if he wants to run as a Democrat? I'm asking this question because I don't know.
You know what? I think it's a little bit of both. And like, for instance, in Orange County, here's the thing. If it was that, and I said this in my own show, if it was just not wanting to piss off the Democratic Party, the California Democratic Party main priority was to stop the recall of Josh Newman. Josh Newman was won a seat in the legislature from a Republican, which is amazing when that happens in Orange County. But he voted for the gas tax. And the Republicans, that's like the holy grail, the third rail in California is the gas tax. And that's what they're using, this repeal initiative to repeal the gas tax to get Republicans to come out in November. So Josh Newman came out against the gas tax and they started a repeal effort against him. So the California Democratic Party has been focused like a laser beam on trying to prevent this. They sent canvassers there to get out the vote against. So here is Bernie in the heart of Orange County, and he doesn't say one word about voting against the recall, right?
Is it possible he doesn't know? I don't believe he doesn't know. I can't believe his handlers will have him there without prepping him on this, which is what gets me about it, of saying, this is one of those things they ask this weird question about Jesus or God. Is it that God doesn't know or God can't do anything about it? And I'm not comparing Bernie to God on this. I'm just making this point of, is it that Bernie Sanders doesn't know, or is that Bernie Sanders can't do anything about it?
No, I got to blame Bernie, and I'm going to tell you why. Because he knows Gail. He endorsed Gail in 2014. He has people who reached out to him to endorse Gail now. Now, yes, Gail did run no party preference, but the Democratic Party did not endorse Ed Hernandez or Eleni. They could not. What's funny? You reading a comment?
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry, Beltazar. I see a comment in the corner of my eye. I'm going to let you finish, but I'm laughing my ass off at this because it's funny. If I had a nickel for every time the DNC let me down, I'd be talking on NBC about telling Nancy and Chuck to knock off saying billionaire. He's talking about Klobuchar. Klobuchar was on MSNBC saying, tell the Democratic Party to shut up about talking about class, saying that he called Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, and I told him, shut up about class. Shut up about bringing this stuff about billionaire up. He's saying if I had a nickel for every time the DNC let me down, I'd be on MSNBC talking about it. I'm sorry. This was out the corner of my eye. I'm sorry. Please finish.
Okay, focus. I'm staring straight in the whites of your eyes right now.
I'm sorry.
So no, what I was saying, that the Democratic Party did not make an endorsement for lieutenant governor. So it wasn't there was some establishment Democrat that he would be going against. You know what? I got to tell you, I think Bernie is a little self-centered. I think he's I really do. I think he's very, look, even the most altruistic people do things because it feels good, right? Yeah, I mean, social psychology experiments have shown that it feels better to give to somebody else than it does to buy something for yourself.
Yes.
And they've shown this. And I've read a lot about real happiness is having meaning and purpose in your life.
Yes, I agree.
When you just have a contentment, like you see a good movie, you have a good meal, good sex, whatever it is, that's fleeting. Mm-hmm. That's contentment. But happiness, true happiness, is really, I think, your personal relationships, the quality of your relationships, and also, does your life have purpose? Does it have a meaning? Yes. So Bernie is altruistic in that sense, but he's pursuing this because it makes him feel good to have purpose and meaning in his life. He's not. He's not like Mother Teresa. And I got stories on Mother Teresa too. She wasn't as much of a saint as people want to give her credit for. But what I'm saying is, Bernie is a human being. He does what he does. Sometimes I also think he's got a little bit of Asperger's going on, because he has this way of saying his exact.
Twist the knife a little bit more. Keep going. Keep going.
I mean, I'm not being an ableist about that. I'm just saying.
I'm going after Sanders myself. I'm so teasing you. Go ahead.
He's got this laser focus where he has this stump speech that he's been giving for 40 years. His phrases, I mean, I can almost say his speech now. He said these phrases so often that when he goes out, he's very focused on his message. And I've been impressed with lately that he's able to listen more. Like, I see he convenes these town halls, or he has these guests that he brings on the dais, or he does the Bernie Sanders show where he's the interviewer. I see that he has the capability to listen and learn. And I've seen his platform evolve. I've seen his platform on racial justice evolve. I've seen his platform on Israel-Palestine evolve.
Yes.
I mean, Peter Beinart just wrote an article in the foreword about how Bernie is the only one, you know, challenging the orthodoxy. And on his own show, he had actual Gazan people, so that people were not associating Gaza with Hamas, which is what Israel wants you to do.
All the time.
Gazan people, you know, like I had someone from Gaza on my show, a young reporter. She was reporting in the dark because they only have the power for 4 hours every day there.
Yeah.
And even though she thought she was going to have power during the time we had the interview, they turned it off. So she was reporting totally from the dark. And she says, the Gazan people don't like the Hamas very much. They're not into Sharia law. Yeah. But, you know, that's who they've got over there. And so what Bernie was doing was very strategic, was he was having actual Gazan people there so that Americans could understand that in their mind, you know, but so Bernie's evolved on that. He's also evolved on, I think, imperialism. He's talking about, you know, these wars that we get into for regime change. He just was on a panel. I was like amazed by what he was saying. Jimmy Dore did a whole show on that panel. But then just yesterday, he says something about Trump negotiating with this murderous dictator, this whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, Bernie, shut the fuck up. You know, I did this video. It was a live stream called Bernie Sanders FTFU. And you know, that was seen by 11,000 people because I'm just railing because he had done 5 tweets about Russia. He did 5 tweets about Russia in a 24-hour period. And I'm like, oh my God, you know? Just stop.
You understand? He's a politician. So I look at Sanders. It's funny. I see him, I guess, similar, but slightly different. I see him as a politician. So is Sanders growing on certain issues? Meaning, look, I think the presidential thing of what's going to take place in 2018 is going to be somewhat fundamentally different than just a 2-party race that was between Clinton and Sanders. I think Sanders is beefing up his bona fides on the left. I think he means it. I think it's one of those things where he moves a little bit to the left. The party kind of moves in order to even kind of hedge him off. So you have people like Kamala Harris and all these other people saying, yeah, we like Medicare for all now. Yeah, we like that. And yeah, we're not going to take this corporate PAC money now. Sanders like, fine, I'll move a little bit further. This is my natural territory anyway. So yes, I'm going to take this extra step. We need to do something about the Gaza people. We need to pay attention to the Gazans. He said that on the debate stage with Hillary Clinton that day, where it was something to the effect of the guy from Goldman Sachs thinks I'm a menace. Damn right I am. It was that speech where he makes that conversation about the Gazans. It puts Hillary Clinton on notice, where Clinton has to defend her position on Israel. Never seen it. I've never seen anything like it. So when he comes out and he's saying this stuff, I think I believe him on it. He came out and gave this speech that blew my mind on foreign policy, where he joined hands with the hard right of the Republican Party and said, what we're doing in Syria, I think is somewhat illegal. It's sketchy. I don't know if it's illegal. And we need to stop what we're doing in Yemen. The United States has been helping a bloodthirsty, murderous regime. It's true. And yet it's something that's never said. Like he is beefing up his bona fides. That's my point. But he is also working in coordination with the Democratic Party. And in the same nonsense that Democrats have been pushing on this to try to obfuscate their own failings and everything else, he knows the political and media climate that he's in. I think he plays politics. I think people take this look of him as if he's above politics. He's not. He's a political actor.
But you know what? He could have endorsed any of the Democrats that even the Democratic Party endorsed.
No, right? I agree. But that's why I asked the question.
He doesn't think beyond his own agenda. And the irony is, he did a show.
Agenda. That's what I'm making. That's the kind of the point I'm making. And maybe I'm wrong on this. And maybe my confusion on this is because I'm fundamentally wrong on this. But all of this stuff is his agenda. Like, moving the ball forward. If I look at Sanders and I say the guy's a socialist, there's something in his head that says the world should be a fairer place. And I am going to take measures to try to make that take place. He's screaming for political revolution. Now, he's in one place.
This is what I want to say. Listen. He did an interview with my friend Alex Michelson when he was here. Yeah. Okay. Alex now, he used to be with ABC. Now he's with Fox 11, not Fox News, but Fox, the local station. And he does a show called The Issue Is. I was actually on the show the week before. And he interviews Bernie. And Bernie says, and I quoted this, and I'm going to use this in my Bernie Shut the Fuck Up Part 2 video. I want to get 10,000 more views. He says these exact words. He says, I am going to do everything in my power from here until the election to get more progressives elected.
Yes.
And I'm watching this thing, which he said in the very same weekend he was here, and he didn't do anything in his power to get them elected. Even, listen to this, he was with Sean King and the Real Justice PAC. There were 6 candidates for district attorney running, like Larry Krasner. We had Pamela Price in Alameda. We had Genevieve Jones-Wright in San Diego. We had Noah Phillips in Sacramento. And there were 3 more. Yeah. Did Bernie even mention their fucking names? And that was the cause that he was there for? Now, here's the thing. I was told that they are in a 501c3 and that he's not allowed to mention candidates when he's on the stage with a 501c3. But that does not preclude him for when he's in the area to do a separate rally with those candidates, or to do a separate rally, you know, just about all the candidates, right? Yeah. He could have fitted into his schedule. So, I mean, that was an epic fail on Bernie's part.
I ask the question, is it that Bernie doesn't know or Bernie doesn't care? And I don't know the answer to that question. But yes, it's a fail. It's a fail. I mean, it's if your job or your goal is to try to get as many progressives or lefties elected, hey, there you are, buddy. There you are, buddy. You're in a spot. He's a lightning rod. He could have. I agree with you on this.
Look, he could have sent an email to his California list. He could have done a robocall. He could have, you know, there's a million ways that he could have helped candidates that wouldn't have even involved a lot of time on his behalf, you know?
No, I feel you. I agree with you. I try to get myself in the head of, do I know each and every one of the candidates that are there? And I want to feel like my campaign person, if I didn't know, would know and would whisper in my ear about, hey, this guy's running in this particular race, doing X, Y, Z, and let's support, you know, something. I would expect something.
Well, you know, the other thing it could be is maybe he's expecting Our Revolution to do it, and he can't confer with Our Revolution by law. He's not allowed to coordinate with them. But they've also been very problematic as to who they've endorsed. Because
go for it. What was wrong with Our Revolution? Because I have 2 questions on this.